Hello, everyone, and welcome to the yet another live session on Python. And in the last week's session, we have covered how to work with conditional statements or decision-making statements, right? So there are three type of flow statements. Okay, the if you look at the very first one, that's sequential, which we have been already using it, right? So when how the Python interpreter reads, it will read line by line. Whatever you write, it will read line by line, apart from comments, as we know. So it will write line by line. That is what we are talking about as sequential, because we've been writing, right? So if you look at this example, we have written 5 or 6 lines, and it will read the first line, it will give the output, it will read the second line, it will give the output, third line, it will give the output. This is what as sequential what we have seen. But when it comes to conditional, what happens is statements are executed based on condition. That means though you have written in sequential, the program may not run in the sequence. It will run based on the condition. If the condition meets, then only it will run that particular condition will work. Otherwise, it will go to the else part. That's what we have seen with the conditional structure. We'll talk about the looping little later, but we'll just go through quickly examples. This is what the sequential example we have seen. That is 1, 2, 3 I have given. When I run this, I'm getting 3 as a first line as an output, because that is what I've written in the first line. So you're written 1, 2, 3. It doesn't mean it will print 1, 2, 3. The way you have written, it will print. That is what you talk about sequential statements, right? Then we have seen how to work with the if condition. That is nothing but the conditional statements or decision making statements. Okay. If I get 85 percentage, then I will be treated as I got something called a distinction. Okay. If I get some 60 marks, then it's a first class. If I'm getting 40, then it's a second class, third class. If none of the condition is satisfied, for example, if I'm not getting that percentage, I didn't get 85%, I didn't get the 60%, I didn't get any percent. So when you're not meeting this condition, it will go to the else part. That means you failed. Okay. So based on condition only, it's working. It's not reading all the conditions there. That is the beauty of if conditions. So we have seen a very simple example how to use uh, in the 134 example, we can see I've given num equal to 1, which is a hard-coded value, and I started using input. Okay, I started using input. Input basically, when you want to read some information from the user, it's not always 10, right? It's not always 1. It's always not always 20. I want the user to enter his choice number. Based on that, I want to perform some job. So that is how we'll use input function. Okay, keeping apart that input function and print function, what we have seen is how to use the if condition. So what I'm saying, I'm telling a num is nothing but a variable. You can give anything. Okay, anything, as long as you are not crossing the rules, you can give any name. Okay, I just said num equal to 1. I want to check if num is really equal to 1 or not. How we are going to provide the equal to? There is a lot of difference here. If you use single equal to, that means you are assigning something. That means you are putting this one into a variable called num. If I'm using double equal to, I'm really comparing. Is this apple is equal to another apple, or apple is equal to orange? This is what the comparison you're doing. So this is a comparison operator, double equal to. I cannot say equal to, it's a double equal to. In case of a single equal to, it is assigning something. So here I'm checking if this is equal to 1 or not. If the condition is satisfied, it is saying it is, yes, it is 1. If the condition is not satisfied, it is not giving me any response. Why? Because I know only how to work with a simple if condition. Simple. This is a simple if condition what you have seen. But later we have just seen one another example. If that the answer is not 1, okay, if that is not matching, then I want to give some answer to the end user saying that, boss, this is not matching. Please provide your account number. Please provide your rule number. Okay, please provide something so that I can check my records. But that number is not existing, so I cannot keep quiet. I need to provide some response to the end user, right? So that's how I started learning how to use the else part. So the indentation is very important. When you click on, after writing the if and the condition, that is nothing but your expression. When you say enter, wherever the cursor stops, you need to start writing the program from there. And you have seen an example. If you are not doing that, it will throw an error. It will say that I'm not understanding what you're doing, because it is telling very clearly in plain English language, expected an indented block. Indentation, nothing but giving some tab. Don't try to give your own spaces. What you do is simply just say enter and try to bring that print there. That's it. Okay. And this print is different and this print is different. Why? Because this print is related to if condition, and this print block is related to else part. Okay, this print is related to if block, and this else part is related to print related to else part. So that's how we have seen uh, error if you are not following indentation. Though your program is good, but if you're not providing the indentation, Python will never understand what you're writing, especially in the if conditions and the loops which you're going to learn today. So this is little different when you're writing the program here. In other programming language, what I've seen is for the beautification, for easy reading of coding, I always used to use some spaces. But here it's not choice, it is mandatory. It is mandatory to give the spaces because that's how Python interpreter reads your conditional structures. In the next one, you have seen again hard-coded value. Okay, n equal to 10. Then is 10 is equal to 1 or not? If it is matching, matching, else part. Then slowly we improvise that program by checking how to use a else if. Now the question is, why do I need a else if? Because I'm happy with simple if first, but it is not giving us negative response, because if it is positive, it is giving response. If it is negative, it is not giving response. So that's why I started using else part, but I'm not happy. Why? Because here, if you look at this example, most of the time in the real time, you have multiple conditions. Okay. You have different choices out of which you one choice is satisfied. You'll not look for the other choice, right? So that's how the conditional structure works. Here, my question was very simple. Please enter the values from 0 to 4. I asked you a question. Please enter a value which between 0 to 4. What if you are entering 5? No, that means this is something which is not existing in my database, or it is not existing as per my condition. So I need to give response to the user saying that this number is not existing, or you have entered some beyond number. So here what I'm checking is whatever the user is entering in the number that is stored in the variable called x, that x is trying to compare. That means what is x? Some number he has given 1. That 1 is being compared with the 0. So that means it will not go to this line. It will come here and check if this 1 is equal to 1. Yes, then it will print the output. It will be least bothered to check all these conditions. So that's why the if condition works faster. And if the condition is met, it will not look for the other options. What if I entered some 5 number or 6 number beyond the number? It will come and check quickly, is matching? No. Is it matching? No. Is it matching? No. Is it matching? No. Last I've given some else part. What is else part? If none of the condition is satisfied, please provide some information to me so that I can understand what I'm doing the mistake here. So else part, at last, if none of the condition is satisfied, last what you want to do, that is what your else part is. Here we try to explore one more example, biggest number between two numbers. Okay, we want to check which number is biggest, which number is smallest. So the question is, which is the biggest between two numbers? X, somebody has entered 10, let's assume. Okay, somebody has entered 20 here. X is 10 now, Y is 20. Okay, now I'm checking very with simple condition, that is if X is greater than Y or not. Colon is mandatory, guys. Without colon, you cannot write an expression there. Colon is mandatory. I'm printing biggest number is X. Else, okay, you found some biggest number, which is very good. But if you don't find the biggest number, you need to print something else, right? So that is what I've used else part here. Okay, so this is about what we have learned with the if conditional, and we are going to write lot of example. But before that, I want to learn the looping structure also. With this combination, we can do much more programs. Okay, we'll do much more programs. But before that, just let me quickly take you one more example so that you can remember the syntax as well, and you can understand the logic as well, so that when I use with the for loop, I mean with the loops, when I start you, I don't know what is loops now. when i when I complete learning loops, I want to use that combination of looping and if condition. Then you'll see the real importance of this combination and what kind of programs we can execute. Okay, let me take a simple example here again. The example what I was referring, if I get 85, then what? Okay, how you are going to grade me as a or B or C or D or whatever. I'm just taking some hypothetical numbers here. Example 13, check my grade. Okay, check my grade. So what if the user is entering, okay, let's say A equal to 10. Okay, the user is entered 10. So I got 10 marks. Am I falling under 85 percentage where I can say I myself as a grade A? No. Am I greater than 70 where I can say I'm a grade is B? No. Am I greater than 55 where I can say I'm C? No. At least am I greater than 40 where I can say I'm grade D? No. So that means the else part is going to be executed. That means saying that you have failed, right? You have failed. But let's not hard code, because we have learned already the secret of taking the information from the user. Simply input, okay, enter your marks. This is a very simple example, but gives you a lot of information. And at the same time, how the uh, uh, when you take some information from the user, how uh, the condition goes and tries to check with the other conditions and see which one is the right output to be provided. Okay, I said a equal to input box, very simple. Now I want to check if a is greater than 85. Okay, what if it is greater than 85? You want to say something to the student, or you want to say something to the uh, to the end user? To, you want to say like you got something? Okay, let's say enter. Where my cursor is ending, it's not going here, right? It's not going here, it's going exactly at, look at this again, I repeat, when I say enter, it is not going here, it is coming and stopping at the indentation that is have almost one tab. Okay, now let me print what I want to print here. So how quickly you can write, if you know what is the question. What is the question here? Check my grade. So for which I need to ask what your how many marks you got in a subject. Let's say one subject. You can also extend to a 6 subjects, 10 subjects, whatever. So here I want to say you got grade, let's say A. Okay, you got a grade A. That is you want to print. Now what is the next part you want to say? If I write something here, that will be related to if, but I don't want to write anything here. Rather, I want to go one step back and I write elif, not else if, it's getting confused. Elif. Elif, I want to say A is greater than your 70 marks. I'm giving a hypothetical numbers. I'm not sure what is 85 and 70. 85 means A grade. Let's understand that way. What what is mandatory here? Colon, say enter, and you write you got a B grade. Okay, let's say you got a B grade. Now if you understand these two lines, how quickly I can just write the program. Let's see, I've just said if A is greater than, what you can say, like after 70, let's say 55 something. Okay, where you're, I'm going to say your grade is C. Okay, now what are the problems you are going to face while writing this program or while the execution? Let's see. And after 55, let's say 40. Okay, 40 means you got a D grade. Okay, now 85, 70, 55, 40, whatever hypothetical numbers I've taken, I'm just grading them A, B, C, D something. What if he has not got any of this category number? So we need to have something called else part, right? No uppercase, guys, else part, colon. Once I say enter, again the print command is coming and stopping where? It is exactly at the indentation. So here I want to say, boss, you have failed. Something, whatever you write in double quotes, is all up to you. What message you want to give the user. Okay. Now, let's close this here and I want to run. I'm definitely find some issues with this program, though it looks very simple and easy to write, but I'm going to find some error here. So let's try to, I'll try to check what is a, why I'm getting error. I want you to give me that answer in the through the chat box. Let's see. Let me run first. It's asking me a polite question. Can you please enter your marks? I said, let's say 50. I said run. Okay. Oh, I got an error here. The error says not supported between instance str and int. Quickly, somebody put it in the chat box. What is the error? Why I'm getting and what I'm doing this mistake here. If you know this error, again, you will never repeat this, because this is a very simple ground rule which we've been talking about in the last week session. I I mentioned this. So let me see. Somebody has answered int. Okay, Chennai is saying int. Godishala Salsa is saying int. So where should I provide the int? Excellent. So why we guys are saying int? The reason is by default my input doesn't know anything. It knows only one thing. Please give me any information. I'll convert into text. That is wrong, right? So I want to convert this into input. That is sorry, int. Then only it will work. So that means whatever the marks the user is entering, first convert into integer. Then only I can say, okay, if somebody is entered 10, the 10 will be comparable to 85. Otherwise, it will be compared like this if you don't convert into integer. If you don't convert this int, okay, the text into integer, what happens is it will treat this, whatever the user is entering, like 10 he has entered, the 10 within double quotes is bit. getting compared with 85. Is it equal to 85? Is it greater than 85? It is less than 85. Meaningless. Why meaningless? Because string and integer you are comparing, which can never be possible, right? So it should be, comparison should be like this: is 10 greater than 85? Makes sense. So here I don't know what is 10, because the user may enter any marks, so I need to be ready for that. Let me make it as a. Now let me rerun. Will it work? Let's see. I said 50. So where I fall into this category? The moment I entered 50, the 50 is stored here, right? The 50 is coming and storing here. Now that 50 is being compared with, okay, is greater than 85 or not? This is how it is compared. Now again, it will compare here, is 50 is greater than 70? Okay. Now this is how you analyze. Don't try to go for the output first. Try to analyze what you have written, through which easily you can make out, okay, is it 55? No. Ash, is it 50 is greater than 40? Okay, nothing. Otherwise, it is like, when you're not meeting any category, that means I'm going to print something, boss, you have failed. Okay, now let's try to analyze this before I run the program. The 50 is because the user has entered 50. Tomorrow you'll enter 60 also, but still I'm ready for that. Reason, I'm taking the information from the user, I'm analyzing it. I'm not hard coding. Hard coding means if I say a equal to 50, that is hard coding, which I'm not doing now. I'm using dynamic way of taking the information from the user. Now it is comparing 50 is greater than 85. So that means this condition is failed. This condition is absolutely failed. Now I'm checking, is 50 is greater than 70. This condition is also absolutely failed. Is 50 is greater than 55 at least? No, that is also not greater. So else if, so that means 50 is greater than 40. Yes, absolutely. So that means I got grade D. Okay. I'm not falling under A. I'm not falling under B. I'm not falling under C. Neither I have failed. God grace, I got D. Okay, so let's try to run this and see what the output you are going to get. So I entered 50. I entered. That's it. You should be getting grade D. Okay, let's take one more name also, like let's say B. I want to say input, enter your name. Okay, I'm just saying, please enter your name. So that what I can say is here, I want to say something like this. B is nothing but your name. And I want to say you got grade A. So I'm trying to be more explicit now, saying that whatever the name he enters, I want to say along with his name. Monty, you got a grade A. That's how I want to spell out now. Let me just put it the same way. Now this is B. I'm just extending the try to be more explicit to the end user so that you can understand what I'm saying. Okay, this is D. Okay, try to do this kind of experiments, because when you say enter your marks, you got 50, you said like grade D. You want to specify, Monty, you got a grade 5. Okay, if you got A, say congratulations, you got A. How I'm going to say congratulations and everything? You are going to write the text here. That's it. But along with the name, I don't know what is the name. Today I asked, please enter your name. Somebody entered Harini. Next time when I asked what's your name, somebody entered Tej, somebody entered Kabir. So the name is keep changing, right? So I cannot hard code my name something like this. A equal to 10, my marks, B equal to Monty, which is wrong. Of course it works. There's nothing wrong in it, but it will always work for only 10 marks and always work for Monty only. That is not what I'm expecting. I want this to be dynamic. So what I'm going to do now, when I run this, it will ask me, what's your marks? Okay, I got, let's say I got 80. When I say enter, it's asking me, what's your name? Okay, I said my name is Monty. Now it is telling Monty, you got grade B. So very quickly we can change if you know the logic, because logic is very important in programming. It's not about just writing example and executing. No, you passed, failed. That is not important here. What important is how you're building the logic, how you're building the logic. What is my question? So whenever any challenges comes, because in Python, there are a lot of challenges going on in this world, they'll put some challenge and they'll ask you to solve the problem. So we need to read the question multiple times. Why multiple times? The reason is when you read a question multiple times, writing the code will take less than a minute, because by the time you'll understand what is expected from me. So always read the question properly. Okay, here my question was, my challenge was very simple, check my grade. Okay, maybe I need to write some more lines. Please enter your name, please enter your marks. Then I'll be comparing based on these conditions. That's how you can just make a very big program, but I've just made it very simple. Okay. Now let's begin with the actual topic, which is very, very important. very, very important. That is a looping structure. Okay. So I'll go very slow and we'll try to spend a lot of time on the very first example only. Once you understand the first example, writing next to 50 examples will be a very cakewalk for you. Okay. So we'll understand what is a looping statements in Python. There are two types basically. We'll get into details for now. There is a while loop. Okay. How does it looks like? We'll see. There is a for loop. There are only two loops. Okay. What is a looping statement? What are the types of statements? How to use them? What are the different statements? There are few statements like a break statement. There's a continuous statement. What are these things and how this is going to help me? We'll see everything. Okay. First, let me write a quick notes which we have already seen. Let me go for my previous headers so that I can steal my own heading here. This is week 10. Notes is important, so I'm writing here notes. What is this topic we are going to discuss? So this is input. I'm doing wrong here. I need to convert this into a markdown so that it can really show me as a topics. Okay, this is my 10th week. Okay, where I'm going to learn how to use loops. Okay, loops, or you can say looping statements. Try to understand in a very simple way first. We'll try to make it to the next level, how the loops works really. Let's take one step back here. What is a sequence type of execution? Your Python interpreter executes in a different styles. One is what? Sequence. That means the way you're writing, it will read each and every line I repeat, it will execute. Very simple fashioned one, old fashioned one. What is the second model? Second model is if condition. If you condition is satisfied, then only it will return that, it will execute that problem or program what you have written. But in case of a loops, what happens is if you want to execute a group of statement multiple times, this is very important, guys. If you want to execute a group of statement multiple times, then we should go for looping kind of execution. Then we need to go for looping kind of execution. There are two types we'll see later, but let's get familiarized with what is the loops. Okay. If we want to execute a group of statements multiple times, then we should go for looping kind of execution. What is that looping kind of execution mean? Because there is other types of executions also, right? Like there is a sequence type, there is a second one is a conditional type. So that's why I'm trying to differentiate. There's a looping kind of execution. There are two types we'll see later, but I want to see why should I go for a loops first of all. Okay, I'm happy with sequence, which is pretty straightforward. Write the program, execute it, quite happy. If conditions is also very good because based on condition, without wasting time, it is giving me the output. Whether I passed or failed, very quickly it's trying to tell me based on some single condition or else part condition or multiple conditions. You have seen in the previous example, I've taken 4 or 5 else ifs. Else if what happens, else if what happens, last, finally, else what, did I fail or pass? It's giving me clear information. So in this syntax, let me do one thing before I go further. I want to print 1 to 10 numbers, guys. Very simple example I will take. Very simple. I want to print, to understand this better, I'm saying print 1, print to 2. Why I'm not giving, by the way, quotes? Because this is a numeric value, right? So let's stop here because I'm already tired of writing 5 lines. Why? I'll tell you. Let me print this first. Okay, fantastic. It is printing 5. But somebody asked you to print 500 numbers. So what you'll do here? Will you write this statement 500 times? Maybe you have patience, you'll write 500 times. But no, that's not the way to write the program. We want we have some looping concept. That means you tell the loop, I want numbers to be printed from 1 to 100. It will print instantly by writing 2 or 3 lines of code. So now we are trying to change that, the way we are writing the program, into more dynamic and more simplified by repeating. That is what you try to read the context again, take a pause. If you want to execute a group of statements multiple times, then we should we should go for we should go for looping kind of execution. We'll see the types again. So this is a simple example where I'm going wrong. I'm not going wrong actually. I'm happy printing 5 numbers, very simple. But this is not the way to print. If you want to print some sequence of information, Okay, when you want to repeat certain things for number of times, let's assume I want to print my name Monty 10 times. Okay, no problem. What I'll do, I'll simply go for, I'll see Monty here. Again, I'll type Monty again. How many times you want to do it? I want to do 100 times, but let me see up to here. Okay, it's working. There's no issue. But this is not the way I want to do the program. I want to use a concept which I'm going to learn today, that is a looping concept. Once you understand this, how quickly we can do uh, thousands of times the repetitions job very simple way by just writing one or two lines, which you're going to see. Okay, in this looping context, we have two loops. Okay, let me show you the syntax. And on the very first example of looping only, we'll spend a lot of time in understanding. Once you understand, writing the next example would be very easy. Okay, the very first type of looping available in Python is while loop. Okay, the word itself is telling you loop means repeat something. Okay, you like your favorite music which is on your smartphone. What you'll do, you want to repeatedly listen to that. So you'll keep it that music file on the loop, right? You want to watch your favorite video again and again, you'll keep it that in a loop. So it will repeat as many times till you stop it, right? That is loop. Repeat the thing. But when you want to do the same kind of stuff in a programming language, we have some looping structures. Okay, here we have first kind of itself is a while loop, and the second one we have something called for loop. Okay, slowly we'll understand why we have a two loops and what is the difference, why I need to use a while loop, why not for loop, which is better. We'll have all this healthy discussion. But first, let's try to understand them individually, try to do some decent examples so that we can be familiar and we can start thinking that logical way of combining other things also. Okay, while loop. What is a while loop here? In case of a while loop, what happens is it contains of some expression. Okay, let me show you that syntax. Let me write, I'm putting some syntax here. Let's say syntax. Always remember the syntax and your job is done. Remember this. If you want to be successful in any programming language, you need to remember the syntax, because the way I have written the program, if you look at it, it's not just because I know Python I'm able to perform this example. No, even if I know C language, I can write the same example. Even if I know C++, I can write the same example. Even if I know Java, I can do the same thing. Even if you know 12,000 plus programming language, you can do the same job. But the question here is how the skeleton looks like. In the C language, how the if condition looks like, the skeleton, the syntax, if you know, the logic is everywhere same. You want to compare this E is greater than 85, the logic remains same. Okay, if condition, maybe you're writing like this, but in other programming languages, you'll say instead of colon, you literally write there, if condition then, you'll write here as then. But here there's no then concept. Colon itself is taking as a then. Okay, that is what you need to compare in C language, how the if condition is written and how the in written in Python. If you're learning other languages also, this is how you can easily compare. And of course, Python is considered to be very easiest one without a lot of complications, very pretty straightforward. So what is syntax? Syntax is basically, I'm trying to tell you how the skeleton looks like. So it starts with, being it's a while loop, it starts with while, okay. Then you are going to provide the condition and a colon. Then we are going to use, not here exactly, again, space. Then you are going to put your statements. Now, what is the statements here? What is a while condition? Okay, let's go back to my if condition, then I'll start comparing. I said if, then this is my condition, and this is my colon. Okay, and this is my statement. What statement you want to print? Okay, A is greater than 85, that's my condition. Print, you got a grade A, that is your statement. Now let's come back slowly to understand again this syntax, what you have written here. While condition, okay, while condition, then perform these statements. Okay, let me explain more about this. The while loop contains an expression, what you have seen, condition or expression, both are same here. Okay, either you can say condition, let me write here so that you can just quickly recap this. Expression, you can say condition or expression, both are same. So the while loop contains an expression or condition as per the syntax. If you look at, okay, as per the syntax, if you look at, the colon is mandatory, guys. The colon is mandatory the way you have written. Once you've written that while and the condition, while is mandatory. Okay, while is a mandatory. That's a syntax. Colon is also mandatory. Condition, I don't know what condition you want to write. It's up to you. And it's up to me what condition I'm doing. What kind of program I'm writing, it's up to me. But that while and colon is mandatory. That is what Python says. If you don't follow that colon, we have seen an example how it will throw an instantly error saying that no, you have written something wrong. There is colon is missing. Okay. It throws in a syntax error. The condition gives a result, okay, in the form of true or false. Okay. The loop keep on executing the statement until the condition become false. That means I want to print 1 to 10 numbers. First, it will print 1. Second, it will print 2. Third, it will print 3. Then it will so on and so forth. It will print up to 10 and then it will stop because the condition has met. Okay, the condition has met. You said please print 1 to 10. So 1 is your starting number. 10 is your ending number. Once the condition met, it will stop executing that. Okay. The loop keep on executing. It will keep running for you. If I print 1, if I run this, it will keep printing only 1 for me. If I print 2, it will print only 2 for me. That's how the while condition expressed. What the loop will do is it will check the condition. Okay, this guy is asking me to print 1 to 10 numbers. It will print 1. Again, it will check the condition. Okay, it is not still false. So it will print the 2. It will check the condition back again and it will print 3. Okay, so you'll see better. We'll try to understand with an example which will be more convenient for us. Okay. So first, right away, I'll go to let's try to understand it's better with an example, as I mentioned. So, but I'll go with an example. Then later we'll have a lot of explanation on one example itself, so that we can quickly run other programs. Okay. So let me take the serial number here. What I'm giving here is a 139. So let me go for 140. So what I want to do here, what I want to achieve, I just want to print 1 to 5 numbers. Okay. Print 1 to 5 numbers. Though it looks very simple example, but gives you a lot of knowledge. Okay, a lot of knowledge. Anybody in the world who is learning a programming language and working on a loop, first he will try to see this example. Why? Because this will tell you how the loop works actually. Not printing 1 to 5 is not my requirement actually, but I want to see how the loop works. Okay, print 1 to 5 numbers with, let's say, while loop. Okay, I don't know what is for loop now. Let's say while loop. Okay, we'll go slowly here. First, what I want to do is I want to use that while. Okay, while, because while is a keyword. You have seen it's already converting into green color. And what are the condition I'm going to write here? The condition is my job. Okay, the condition, but the colon is mandatory. So in this entire line, what is important is your while and your colon is mandatory, and the condition you can give any condition there. Okay, you can give any condition. So in this condition, what I want to write is I want to see X is less than or equal to 10 or not. That is what I want to check. If X is less than or equal to 10. But by the way, what is X? Okay, we'll see later. Now, once I say enter, it's coming and exactly directing me towards exactly in the line of W. Okay, that is while. But actually what the mistake I'm doing, colon have to provide. Once you say colon and enter, you'll see that the cursor is exactly stopping where it's supposed to be started. I'll remove this. Once I say enter, it's coming just like a sequence execution is coming in the same line. No, this is not what I wanted. Once you say colon, it will come and stop here, which is correct. Now what I want to do, I want to print what is X. Okay. Now this simple example going to print at 10 numbers for you. Yes, but there is some catch here. You are telling X, but you are not telling what is X. So let me tell what is X to the Python. Okay, my X is 1. Is that fine for you? Yes. You have started with something, a starting number for this loop called 1. We'll deep dive into this example, but just remember, I started with while loop and I said X is less than equal to 10 or not, but what is X? X equal to 1. I'm explicitly mentioning to a Python interpreter, boss, look at this example. X equal to 1, that's my starting number. And please check until this condition is false, please print all the 10 numbers. Okay, there's one more thing here. When it is printing, we have to explicitly increment that number. That means by default, the X is 1, right? When I say X plus 1, what happens is for the first time, X is 1. Second time, it will be 2. Third time, it will be 3. Fourth time, it will be 5. That's how it will print. If I say print here, it will print. Okay, with every number, it will print end. No, I don't want that way. I want print to be printed at the end. So this print is coming in the line of while. Try to understand this one again. I'll come right from the first line again before I actually print the output, because I want to understand this how the while loop works. The program is to print the numbers from 1 to 5. That's the first condition. Before starting the loop, we made some assignment that is called one. What you assigned actually, X is a variable in which you are telling, please store my number called one. That's your starting number. Okay, this is called an initialization of your section. You're starting your kickstart of this program, that is your X equal to one. All right. After the initialization, we are trying to check if while loop with a condition X less than or equal to 10 or not. That is what you are checking in the second line, right? Inside the loop, we are printing a value of X. That means we are printing what is the value of X. The first time the X value is one, it is checking is 1 is less than 10. No, it is printing 1. It is again going back to the condition and checking what is X now, because by the time X came printed, the X has 1. So 1 equal to 1 plus 1, it becomes 2. Then it will check is 2 is less than 10. No, it will print the 2. Now it will come again here. It will 2 plus 1 becomes 3, and it will check is 3 is less than 10 or not. This how it will keep repeating until the condition becomes false. Until the condition becomes false. Let me quickly print the output, and again we'll go back to the explanation so that we can understand more this. Very simply, it's printing 1 to 10 numbers. How quickly it is printing? Now let me go back to my previous traditional method of printing. That is 1 2 3 4 5. I type repeated 5 times. If I want to print 10 times, I need to write 10 times. If I want to write 10,000 times, no matter, there's no other way. You need to write print 10,000 times. But here I learned something new concept, that is a while loop, which can do my job much quicker. I repeat this example once again. The program is just to print 1 to 10 numbers, guys. So for that, I have initialized. Okay, I'll just say, let me write here. Okay, this is an initialization section. And here, what you're doing is we are checking the condition. Okay, and here what you're doing, value or number, whatever. Okay, this is mandatory, guys. This is not mandatory, guys. Even if I print like this, will print 1 to 10 numbers. Why I've given just like I want to say to the end user. Okay, I want to write something else instead of putting that up printing. I'm just giving information to you. That's it. That is what I'm writing. Printing numbers completed. Just like that for fun. Okay. Double quotes, say enter. That's it. It's going to say printing numbers completed. Okay. It's just saying just like that for fun. So I repeat this concept again. First, I'm initializing the section. Then I'm trying to check if we are checking the condition, if the condition is met or not. The first time the condition will not met. The condition will not become false because the first time the 1 is trying to compare with the 10. So it will simply print 1. Second time it will try to check if 2 is comparable, is less than 10. No. So it's printing 2. Then it is trying to print 3, 4, 5, 6, 9. After 9, after printing 10, it's again trying to go back and check is 11 is less than 10. No. So it will simply come out of the loop. So loop will keep repeating until the condition becomes false. That's how we got the output up to 10 and the condition is stopped. The loop, we came out of the loop. Let me use this way. We came out of the loop. First time it is running, second time running, third time running, up to 10 times it ran. And after that, I stopped it. How I stopped it? Because the condition is stopped. So when if I say 100, what happens? It will simply print 100 numbers for you without thinking much. With very quickly, can I print this 100 numbers by using print statement the way I'm writing here? No, we cannot do that, right? Let me put simple numbers here so that my output will not show very big. Okay, simplify numbers. This is how the loop works. Okay, now the moment you start working on this kind of example, you'll get a lot of thoughts. Can I print even numbers? Can I print odd numbers? Can I find a prime number? Can I find positive number? You have a lot of examples to do, but beforehand we need to understand how the loop works, because we already know how the if condition works. And if you know how to combine them together, it's a wonderful program you can create. Okay, so that's what we have covered, how to use a while loop. Let's go for the simple example one more. to make it more familiar, we'll try to do multiple examples today for the for loop, and we'll try to use that combination of if condition. Okay, very important. Now let's try to see what is the next example. I want to print even numbers. That's anyway, you'll get the question, print even numbers. I leave to you how to print odd numbers. Okay, let's leave that job to you. If not, like, we'll cover that in the next week. But try to think the logic. I'm printing even numbers now. Okay, for let's say from 20 to uh, 40, maybe just like that. Okay, you can take any number. I'm just taking randomly number. Now, what is the first thing I need to do? I need to initialize. Okay, don't initialize. First, I try to write something like that. While uh, take any variable x is greater than equal to 20, because that's your starting number, right? No doubt. Okay, you want to check between uh, uh, 20 and 40. I'm using a word here. Okay, I used a word, and operator. Okay, logical operator I'm using. And means x should be greater than 20 and x should be less than, let me write this, x less than or equal to 40. Then, oh, sorry, colon. Okay, so here what the condition I'm writing is, I'm telling my Python, please try to check if it's x is greater than or equal to 20 and x is less than 40. In between that only, I want to print something. What you want to print, that's a later case. I want to work around within this range, 20 and 40 range. But can you please tell me what is x? Okay, let me tell you what is my x. X is 10 or 20, because your starting number is 20, right? So you'll initialize with 20. You can change the numbers. It's just for fun I'm taking. And the good part is, whenever you say enter, it will uh, come and settle exactly under the while, not exactly here. Okay, it's not coming here. Rather, don't try to use spaces, your own spaces, which is not good. See, simply enter and stop there and start writing what you want to write. I want to print simply x. Okay, x is your variable which you're trying to print out. Now, x equal to, you want to increment by what? Can I say +1? What will happen if I say x print 1? Let me, okay. When I say 1, 20, 21, 22, 23, okay, this is not my output. Now, what should I do to get an even numbers? Because it's working, somehow it's working for me, 20 to 40. Is it printed 40? Let's see. 35, 40. Okay, I got all the numbers. Very good. Which I can do with the previous example also. There's nothing new. But here I want to really do that magic of printing even numbers. Even numbers are nothing but 2, 4, 6. Okay, even numbers. We know that. Instead of incrementing by 1, can you make it increment by 2? See, the logic is changing. Very with simple logic, we can make wonders. So once I say enter, will it print 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32? What is stopping you to make print odd numbers now? I leave the job to you, how to print odd numbers. Okay, within any range or below 50 or below 100, you want to print all the odd numbers, or you want to print the even numbers. And are we really going to use all these examples in the real time? Not really, but this is building your logic, how to write a program and see the execution part, which will be more familiar. Okay, this is how we quickly printed using even printing even numbers, that is using a while loop again. Okay, now let's stop this here. That is using while loop. I used twice already. We'll try to again combine this while loop and for loop. That is the one more flavor is there, which we'll try to see that. So let me concentrate on a for loop now. How different for loop works. Okay, I need to understand even the syntax as well. Okay, so let's go back to our notes where I've written, okay, while condition. This is what I've written for the uh, while loop. Now let me write the syntax for loop. How the for loops looks like, always look at the skeleton. Okay, always look at the skeleton. Skeleton is nothing but where it starts, where it ends, what is mandatory, what is not. Once you know these golden rules of anything, we are good. For instance, print supposed to be printed, string should be printed in single quotes, double quote, triple quote. Who is telling you? These are the rules for the Python. If I follow those rules, I can never go wrong. I cannot use strings for the numbers. That's a rule, right? If you want to do some mathematical operation, 10 plus 10, you cannot use double quotes. That's a rule. Same way, the syntax for your for loop. So let's see how the for loop looks like. Okay, and we'll talk about what is a for loop also. We have seen how the while loop works already. Here, the change what you just try to compare with the while loop, what changes I'm doing. It will start with for, obviously, because it's a for loop. Okay, and if you talk about it will talk about the variable in which you want to store the values in sequence. Okay, in sequence. Okay, and what statements you want to execute. Very simple, very fantastic. If you look at other programming languages, it is complicated, but when I started writing, it's so simple in writing in Python. There's for loop and while loop, and you can do magic if you understand the skeleton first, then later doing something programs. Okay. All right, so let's try to understand what is the for loop then. Basically, what happens with the for loop is it is also used to iterate elements. Nothing but iterate is nothing but repeating. Okay, I'm trying to use some different words. Iteration is nothing but the repetition. So basically, for loop is also used to repeat the elements. So what's new then? But one by one from the sequence, like we have strings, we have tuples, we have a dictionary, and so on and so forth, right? This loop can be easily understood when compared to the while loop. Okay, it's easy to read, much faster than while loop. Most widely in the world used is for loop, not while loop. What if somebody is writing with while loop? Nothing wrong. That program also works. I want to print 1 to 10 numbers with for loop, it works. I want to print 1 to 10 numbers with while loop, also it works. Then why we have two? We'll try to understand in a little bit later. But first, try to go through the syntax, because if you remember the syntax, writing program will be very, very easy. Now, I hope you understood for variable in sequence statement. Let me copy my own syntax, put it here, and modify according to the example. Okay, here I'll put the example as, heading as for loop for your identification. So for variable, now already you can see it is coming in green color, especially two keywords, that is a for and in. And rest of the things is my choice, completely my choice. Variable, I can give whatever the variable I want. Okay, it's up to me. Sequence, nothing but the condition, that is also my choice completely. Statements, again, completely my choice. Nobody can stop me. I can give anything, whatever I want. But for is a keyword, I need to use the same way it should be. If I use a for loop like F, that is F, no, it will not work. For, it will work? No, it will never work the way you want to write, because it is a syntax. So you need to write in the same way how it is mentioned, right? That's what already we know. Now let's try to use in a different concept how we can use for loop. Okay, by taking a simple example here once again. Let me put this in comments, because this, I don't want this to be executed. Here what I want to do is I want to print, I want to print, I want to print elements, elements, values, okay, of a of what I want to know from you what is mean of values of is it a tuple, is it a dictionary, it is a string, I don't know. You are going to explain me in the chat box what exactly it is. I'm going to do a simple example here once again. I'm going to take x equal to I'm taking a brackets here. I'm saying 10, 20, 30, I'll say Monty, I'll say Harini, that's it. Now, somebody just keep on the chat what style of data type I'm trying to use, because now from on we should start using, you should start thinking about it. The moment I write the line, you should know what that line mean. Somebody quickly show me the answer. What this x equal to 10, 20, 30 Monty Harini mean? Does it have any special meaning? What data type I'm talking about? Quickly, somebody put it in the comments, please. Samarth is saying integer, and somebody is saying, Raman is saying integer and string. Rashikar is saying list. Guys, remember, this is a list. This is a data type. And taking, okay, it is taking heterogeneous elements, right? I'm taking numeric value at the same time text. I can take Boolean values. I can take a, what do you call, I can even take floating numbers. So please do remember now on, because already the topic is over. We have seen the extensive example. Now, what if I want to print whatever is there in the X value? What is X is storing? But by the way, to prove you the point, what is X? I want to print. Just let print and see what is X stands for. Okay, it is telling you're a list. Okay, let me see what it is. If I put, you have seen already examples. I'm just trying to recap because these are important. Again, I'm using round brackets. I'm saying print. Okay, it's a tuple. That is what it is saying. All right. So let me take a square bracket here. Again, a square bracket. Now, you already know what kind of X mean. X means it is going to say you are a list. Okay, fine. Always try to print and check before you actually write any program. So what is the statement I need to write here? What is the syntax I need to write? Okay, blindly let me follow my own syntax, what I've written at the top. That is for variable in sequence, then statements. Okay, so let me copy that same. For, he said, okay, let me write for. He said variable. Okay, let me take some variable like y. Okay, y is my variable. And in the sequence, in which sequence? In the x. That means whatever is there in the x is stored here, and y is taking each element from the x, printing each value and printing all the information what is there in the your x. X is nothing but what? See, again, I'm getting the same problem. When I say enter, it's going somewhere else. The problem is you're not closed it. Okay, you have not closed it. This is very important. Again, when you say enter, I want to print x. No, not really. You want to print x because x is storing all these values, fine, but x is trying to push all those values into y. How? Let's try to understand this program before I actually print it. Okay, very important. In the previous example, I've taken numeric. Here I intentionally taken heterogeneous values because it's a numeric, one is string, whatever you say. First, it is the for loop is checking, the y is checking what is there in the x. Okay, 10. Let me print 10. Then it is checking the second time, it is checking what is there in the second value, 20. And in what is there in the third value, 30. What is there in the fourth value, Monty. What is there in the fifth value, Harini. After that, nothing is there. So obviously the for loop will come out. Okay, it's keep checking what are the values existing in list. If you have 100 values, it will repeat 100 times. Once the condition becomes false, it will stop. Let me use a beautiful word. I will come out of the loop. I will come out of the loop. The loop will exit rather. Okay, exist. So once you say enter, it is printing whatever the values you have in your list command. Okay, in the list data type, sorry, in the list data types. Right? So we have seen an example with the numeric. We have seen with a heterogeneous values. You can use anything here. So just execute my example, what I've written, and try to add your own logics and try to take one example into multiple 5 examples and try to do it with a different combination. Why he is printing only from list? Is it not possible from the tuple? Is it not possible for the string? Try to do some combinations and try to get the errors. I want you to fail when you're writing a program because Python is giving a beautiful messages, error messages, which anybody can understand very easily. That's the advantage. Okay, let me go for the next example. Here we are trying to print an element. Let me put it here. And here I'll say this is my syntax so that easy readable. Okay, now this is good. Now what I want to do is, let me take this as example 141. Is it 141? 140, 41. 142. Very good. All right. So it's clearly demonstrated how the for loop works. For again, I'll repeat. First, it will check the condition. First, y will whatever the x is having a values. First, it will push into y. It will keep moving. This is going on circle. Like first, it is printing 10. Is going to print 20. Is printing 30. Printing Monty and Harini. After Harini, nothing is there because after Harini, it's blank. So it will come out of the loop. That's how the loops works. While also works the same way. But in case of a while, I've seen one's variation. I was trying to initialize. That means what is x, what is y? I'm telling explicitly at the top. Here also same. You're trying to put all these values into a variable called x as initialization. Okay, let's take one more example. Okay, the moment you print with the list, you'll have a different questions again. Can I print with the text? Can I print with that one? This one. So let's try to take this example. And when I write the program, you'll see it's so easy to write. So easy to write with the loops now because you understood the very first example very closely. This is a 143 example. Now what I want to do is I want to print characters, let's say from a string. From a string. What is string means? Anything, right? So let's say n equal to Monty Python. What is that? N is a variable which is printing, which is having a value called Monty's Python. When I print, obviously, this is the first example what you have seen when you started a Python course. But what is the difference I want to do here? I want to print each value separately. Okay, I know it because I learned how to print. Let's say M, let's say woo. This is also how I can print. But the other way, can I print the other way which I learned, slicing and dicing? Of course, why not? N, colon, then I need to say 0. Then I want to say 1. This is my favorite of way of printing. Okay, this also works. But just imagine if you have some biggest string which is having a 256 characters or 300 characters or a very big paragraph where you want to print some slice and dice. Not really possible to go on using this print command, right? So let me not use this method. What is the method I can use? Let's use the for loop now. We just learned. Now what I can say is for y, some variable, anything, I'm just taking just like that in n. Let me do easily x and y easily you can remember. X and y. Again, the problem, I'm forgetting this colon because other programming doesn't have this colon. I'm forgetting, keep forgetting. In other programming, you need to use this flower brackets and all, which is missing here. This is good actually. It's reducing the code. Now, what do you want to print? Simply print I. Sorry, it's not I, Y. What I'm doing again, just compare with the previous example. In the previous example, I've taken multiple values in the form of a list data type. Here I'm taking X. By the way, what is X? Before that, I want to see what is X. What is X? Type of X. Just print it. You'll see that it is a str. Fantastic. Now, what you want to do in the str, you want to print all the values which are there quickly, immediately. That's it. No time, no waste of time. Only in 3 lines of code, you could able to print all the values, not using that way of using that is indexing portion 0 1 2 3 4. That is also good, I'm not saying wrong, but when you have a bigger string, this is the best way of printing out some information very quickly. That is using the loops. We are also trying to understand how the loops working, right? So printing characters from a string object, where when you want to print, this is how you can print. And sorry, so let's take one more example to make it more familiar. Okay, I want to write some more examples. Let me remove the outputs because it's looking very huge. Let me remove all the outputs here. Then we have 144. By this time, everybody understood. I'm going to kernel menu. I'm removing, clicking on restart clear outputs. The moment I say, what happens is it will restart. Entire Jupyter notebook will restart, and you'll see there's no output. It's only program written. Oops. Okay, what is the next example you want to do? Okay, you want to print. You want to print. Let's say printing every value uh, in a string or in a list. Let's say list because we already seen list by adding some tags. Let's say tags. Okay, you want to add some tags because you are trying to do some mathematical operation here. At the same time, you are using a for loop here. What happened? Why you're not going off? Okay. So what I want to do is I want to print. Okay, let's say I want to say I equal to something called 10, 20, 30, 40, something. I've taken 50. Okay, that's it. I've taken some list which is having some 5 values. You can also take something else. Can I take a string here? Can I add GST or tax to Monty? No, right? So we need to have some numbers only. So I'm intentionally taking numbers so that I can do some mathematical operation here. Maybe I want to add, maybe I want to subtract, say, maybe I want to multiply. So when you want to do then things only numeric, right? So, so I've taken I here. What I want to do is I want to tell what is my tax. Okay, what is my tax? I'm saying, let's say 2, okay, 2 or 3, whatever number. Then I want to say for x in, what you have that numbers, what you have is that is I. Okay, let's put it a very easy manner. Items. Okay, let's assume this is an items and this is a tax. Okay, items means the 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 is my items, and the tax is equal to 2, which is already defined. Otherwise you ask the user what is the tax currently, you take that number from the user and add it. So how I'm going to print it, by the way, again the same mistake I'm keep forgetting. Don't forget this colon here, guys. So what I want to do is for x, okay, already you written x, I want to say print, but I want to add the tax to it, right? So for the 10, you want to add a tax like 2. For the 20, you want to add a tax 2. For the 30, you want to add a tax to 30. You want to take a percentage, you can take it. If you want to subtract, you want to, what you want to do, it's your requirement, but I'm just trying to add here x plus what? If I say x, sorry, it's not x now. Yeah, I'm getting confused. Okay, x is nothing but your variable. Then you want to say the tax is nothing but your 2, right? Very simple program. what I'm trying to do is whatever the items I have, I'm printing out. Let me go back to my previous story. Uh, okay, here we go. So here I'm just printing out without any much blindly. I'm printing what is there in my list. But in this example, in the next example, what I'm writing, I want to add or I want to subtract, I want to division, I want to multiply, I want to do mod exponent, I want do whatever the arithmetic operation you want to do, but how to do it? Like I'm simply using x plus tax. What will happen? Let's see. All right. So 10 means 12, 20 means 22, 30 means 32, 40 means 42, 50 means 52. I'm just trying to do some more calculation on the part given. Okay. Now, having understood how to use this for loop, because as I mentioned, for loop is most widely used. Most widely used. There's there's nothing wrong using while loop, guys. There's nothing wrong. We can do the same job what I'm doing so far with the while loop also. There's no change at all. But for loop is easy to understand the way I'm writing. Okay, when you look at the while loop, it's little tougher to understand for anyone. Okay, while loop is little complicated to understand. You have to increment the number. You have to initialize the number. You're writing so many lines there. Though it is a very good loop, but you're ending up writing so many lines. But when you look at a for loop, it's quite easy. Very simple. For what you want to do and you want to print. Okay, before that, whatever the values you have, being you have a value, so you're writing one more line there. Okay, let's do one more example here. That is a 145 example. 145 example. What I want to do, we have taken the list, we have taken the string, and we have taken the numbers also. Okay, and what if we want to okay, we have already seen, right? So how to print this to, okay, same example. Let me do a different way, which will also give us an idea how this can be done with the list. Okay, we have some items, which is nothing but 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. What I want to do is, let's take this example, sum of all the values in the list. By looking at my screen, 10, 20 is 30, 30 plus 30 is 60, 60 plus 40, 100, 100 plus 50 is fine. By looking at 5 numbers, I can do it very quickly. What if you have some hundreds of value? Can you sit and count each number? No. Let's do with the for loop. Let's ask the for loop, can you please add 10 plus 20? Then that output plus add to that 30, and that output add to 40, that output add to 50. The way we do the humans in an calculation, the Python also does the same job, but does very quickly. Let's see how it does. So here, what I'm trying to do is, if X in items, whatever the items we have, okay. Now here, what I want to do is, I want to really add those numbers, right? So let's say sum. Okay, I'm using sum equal to 0, or S equal to 0 for that matter. S equal to 0, which is the initialization, and I'm saying enter. S equal to S plus what number? What number? Here we already, each number is being stored in the variable called X. So I'm saying X. So what happens here? Okay, this is wrong. This print option should be yes. Okay. Let's try to calculate manually first before we actually print out the output. 10 plus 20 is 30, 30 plus 30 is 60, 60 plus 60 plus 40 is 100, 150. This is what I'm expecting the output. But how this loop is working, it is storing all the values in a variable called items as an individual items. I'm telling X, can you go and check what is there in the items? Okay, it is telling me there is a number called 10. Okay, fine. Can you just increase, can you add that number with the adjacent number, that is a 20? Okay, after that 30, after that 40, after that 50, after that 50, what then? No, I don't have any number. Can I please come out? Yes, please come out of the loop, because there is nothing you need to do there, because the list is already ending with 50. Tomorrow with 100 values, it will end there. That's how any loop will work. Once a condition becomes false, it will just, okay, it is printing 10, 30, 60, 100, 150. We can see here 10. Okay, that's the initial number. Then again, the 10 plus 20 is become 30. Okay, then it is showing me 60. Okay, nothing but 30 plus 30 is 60. Then after that, it's becoming 100. After that, it is becoming 150. Okay, so this is what we have just created a simple example to understand how we can just quickly calculate the information. Okay, what is provided in the, so initialization number is was 0. Okay, then items will be in storing here. Okay, I'm taking that items what is there. I'm using an in operator because x in items, what is there in items, which I'm taking as the first value. I'm taking 10. The 10 plus s is initially 0, so 0 plus 10 is 10. That's why it's printing 10. Next time the s becomes 10, so 10 plus 20 becomes 30. Then 30, what is that, 30 plus 30 becomes 60. Then 60 plus 40 becomes 100. Then it becomes a what was the output? Yeah, 150, right? That's how quickly we could able to print some of all the values which are in the list. So very good example how the information which is there in any list of items, we can quickly get the total sum of it. So the loop is really working well, uh, but it has a time limit, right? So it will work until the job is done. So that means once the condition becomes false, here it is true, 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 true. Once it encounters 50, it is also true. But next, is there anything? No, it becomes false. Then the loops comes out. But there is another loop. This is not a different loop, but the same loop. Uh, it's called as an infinite loop. Infinite loops in the sense the loop will never come out. Okay, what does it mean, never come out? If I say 1 to 10 print numbers, that means I'm telling a condition, can you please come out after 10? But there are certain situations where the condition will never become false. So that means the loop will be keep running. If your machine is on for 24 hours, it will run 24 hours. But do I have really requirement? No. So don't try to write such kind of infinite loops until unless it's required. Even if you write and it will keep running, and when you want to stop, there is an option which will show you now. Okay, what I want to do is let me use infinite. Okay, we know what is infinite, right? So the loop which will never ends in life, or the loop whose condition never gets failed. That is what infinite mean. Let me write here just for your identification. Let me take example of 146. Okay, what is infinite? Let me write in caps, infinite loops. Okay, what does it mean? The loop which never ends, or the loop, what you can say, loop whose condition never gets false is called as infinite loops. Okay, it's going in the next line, so let me take here. Okay, it's readable now. All right, so any loop which is where the condition is not becoming false and it's keep running, that is called as an infinite loop. So okay, I understood what is infinite, because there is no never ending process. It's keep running. If the machine is running for 364 days, it will keep running. But who will stop it? I can stop it. Let me show you how to stop it as well, because that's not my job. I want some loop to run for hours together. No, I don't want. Let's see a very simple example. While, okay, while true, I'm saying my condition should, when condition met becomes false, then you come out of the loop. That is what the loop is all about, right? But here I'm saying while the condition is true, which will never become false, because already you're telling it is true. True is not written in this way. How? T. T is caps. So now you can see in green color. So print Monty Python. Before that, let me save my file. Okay, it's let me save it. Unsaved changes. So that means it's not yet saved. The okay, checkpoint created, that is 1818, that is 618, the file is been saved. I'm sure this will go for hours together if I start running this. But how do I stop this? Before this, we should also know how to stop this. I'll tell you while it is running, because I want to see how it runs. When I say run, it's keep running, running, running. Can I go down and see? Okay, it's keep running, guys. It's keep running. There is no stop for it. You can see, I don't know how many times it has run. It's keep running. So what is the right one? It's going on, going on, going on, and it's not stopping. This condition is not becoming false. It's true. The condition is true, so it's keep running. And you can see, I'm pretty sure it has written some thousands of lines already. So I want to stop this. How do I can stop is use Control C, Control plus C, Control plus C. This should stop. Now, can I write something? Yes. Okay, it is stopped. But if I want to see how many times it has written, let's go and see the cursor. Oh God, it has written so many times. Let me write the shortcut for you. Otherwise, you'll end up plus C to stop the loop. Always remember, whenever you want to stop loop, even a normal loop also, when you want to stop, you said print 1 to 1000, but you don't have a patience. After 100 only you want to stop, you can stop it by using a control C, it will stop. But actually the intention of writing a program to print 1 to 1000, but you want to stop in middle, you can stop it by using control C. Control C, which works, uh, control C is like copy, but not copy here. Like control C will stop the infinite loop. Let me remove that output, which is looking very lengthy, because the concept of loops itself, when the condition become false, it will stop. But here, the condition will never become false, because myself I mentioned, while it is true, printing Monty's Python, and it's keep printing, and it is never ending process. All right. Hope you understood whatever the topics we have taking. I'm taking very in slow motion, which is uncountable. Exactly. So can we have a short break here? Okay, it's okay. This is how the infinite loop works. Infinite means the loop which will never end, or the loop whose condition never gets false. So I was trying to take an example by giving a true. So that means when it is true, it will never become false. So it's keep running, 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 and we'll never use of course, infinite loops. There's just an example. If you come across a situation where your loop is not keep on running and it's not stopping because the condition has not become false, we can use the shortcut key, that is a control plus a C, to stop that infinite loop. Okay, let's see the next example, which is very, very important. That is the nested loops. Nested loops. Few of them developers are treating as a different loop, but it's not different. Nested loop in the sense nested, a loop within the loop. A simple example, a loop which is written inside another loop, then it is called as a nested loop. Okay, let me write here, nested loop, nested loop. Okay, what does it mean is, if a loop is written inside another loop, then it is called as a nested loop. Okay. Okay, that's a quite simple statement. If a loop is written inside another loop, that is, let me show you an example. For variable in sequence, again, okay, we have to give the mandatory for variable in sequence colon, then you want to print the statement. That means what? We want to print something. Okay, that means what? You are trying to use two loops in order to perform certain task. So in what situations we can use, we'll try to let's try to understand it with an example. Okay, let me remove this, or let me put this as a comment. Okay, what if I want to print something like star? I want to print star. Okay, I want to print one more star. Let's take one more star. Okay, 4 stars. Here I want to take one more star. Okay, semi pyramid kind of a style when I want to print. Okay, there are different patterns which you can print actually. You can even print 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10, something like that. Or here what I want to do is I want to print one more star, maybe here one more stop. Can we stop here? No, I want one more star. Okay, this looks like a semi pyramid, right? So when you want to print this kind of output, this is not simply possible with the for loop, because we need for rows we need one loop, for columns we need one loop. That means that this is called as a rows. Okay, what you're writing, and this vertical one called as a columns. So you need to print horizontally and also print vertically, and you need to take the blank spaces also into consideration. Think this as a box, thinks at this as a box where you're missing some stars and you're printing only where it is required. So obviously it will not be solved very quickly by using a for loop, of course, for loop or while loop, but we need to use the nested concept here. Okay, nested concept. So what does it mean is for loop within the one more for loop. Okay, or it could be a while loop also. Okay, for this example, as we are starting with the first example with the for within the for, which is called as a nested. Okay, we need to use a word called nested. Nested means a loop within the loop. How to do this? So for that, I want to take a range example. Okay, how many of you remember range example? Quickly, just ping me on the chat, because without knowing range, we cannot understand this concept. That's why we covered already in the previous week session. That is what is range. Okay. Uh, Okay, so that means a range means when you want to print certain numbers. Okay, what are the parameters of range? Let's try to talk about it first. Otherwise, you'll not understand this concept. We have three parameters, right? A range is a function which will take start number, start start number, and ending number. Then it will take step. That means if I need to put it in an actual example, my start number is 1 and my end number is 10. Then I want to step by 2. That means if you print this one, okay, if you print this one, what will happen is it will try to print, okay, let me print this, print range of this. Let me put this into comments and run it. Okay, you are getting stars as an error. So this is not a code, right? So I need to put it in comments for now. And we already seen the design. When I write to print, what happens here? It is printing 110 2 as a step because it is just we have given as a list. But let me try to put it in the list format because that is what we are looking for. Okay, when you really actually want to print in the form of a numbering format. So let's try to take an example here. For that, let me just go back and put this as an example as 146, 147. First example, let me take num, okay, equal to range. Then I said 1 comma 5. What does it mean? The starting number is 1 and ending number is 5. We already discussed this, but this concept I require. If without this concept, I cannot go for the nested loop, which is very, very important. So here, the to make it you understand, start is 1 and end is 5, right? That is how the range works. Now, when I want to print this num, what happens? Let's see. Type num. When I'm trying to print this, it is telling me, boss, you are a range. You are a different data type. It is called as a range. You're telling the starting number and ending number. That means you are clearly, it is a range. You're using a range function and it is a range data type. All right. So let's try to see how this is going to help me by using a for loop. So I want to print, okay, let's say, list of what you have given as num. Okay, then what will happen is it will print what is there in between this 1 to 5. Okay, because you used a list data type, so it's trying to print 1 2 3 4. But by the way, where is my 5? Then you have understood in the range when you're working, the upper limit, whatever the number you give, it will be -1 always. Okay, the end number will be always -1. So you'll not get the actual number what you have given here. If you want to really print 5 also, you need to give as 6. That's already understood in the range. Okay, let's go for another example. This is just trying to print in the form of a list type. If you don't understand the range model, you cannot use the loops there. Okay, so let's try to use little extensive of this range. I said 1, let's say 10. uh, I want to take the step also so that I can understand what exactly it means. Okay, we know what is start and end now. And the last parameter what I provided is 2. 2 means the step, how many numbers you want to skip. You can give in minus, you can give in positive number, doesn't matter. So what exactly it is going to print? By the way, when I said run, it will say 1 3 5 7 9. It seems to be like it's printing odd numbers, right? So just go back and use the for loop and try to use the same function to print your odd numbers. That's a clue for you. Okay, let's try to go for the next example, which will clarify more how we can more use this range in the for loops. Okay, here what I want to do is I want to use 0 as a starting number, just for fun, and I want to use 20 as my end number. I want to use 5 as a step. Now what will happen when I print this? Obviously it is going to print from 0. Okay, then it is printing not 1 2 3 because it's skipping that 5 step. Okay, that is the 5 is the last one, 5. Then it's printing 10, then it's printing uh, 15, right? So that's your ending number is 20, so it cannot go beyond, because 20 means -1, that is 19. So it has taken that limit, that is 5. Now let me take one more example so that you can be familiar, because we have not used any negative numbers here so far. Let me use a negative number also. I want to say, let's say -5. That's my starting number. I want to use -1. What's this? You said starting number is 5, bigger number, which is a -5, and you're taking the ending number as a -1. Okay, let's see how this really going to print for me. Okay, what this is going to print for me? There is no step here because I'm not skipping any numbers. -5, -4, -3, -2. Where is my -1 again? -1 will never be printed because the upper limit will be always -1, right? So hope you understood how to use this one. Okay, let's take one more example so that if how to use a single digit, because that's also we are going to use in my examples. So how to use a single digits. I simply used a 5. Okay, if you use a positive 5, what will happen, we'll see. If you use negative 5, what will happen, is see, because here I'm not specified any starting number. I just specified 5. What is 5 stands for? Is it 0 to 5 or 0 to 4, or is it how it is going to print? Let's try to see it. Range is going to print from 0 to 4, because that already the upper limit 5 is included in the 0. That means the starting number it will take as a, we know what is that index mean. Index is always starts with 0, right? So that's how the range is printing. Anyhow, this topic is already covered, but just a snapshot how we can use a for loop here. Okay, let's go with the for loop now. For loop example, the way I printed the stars I want to print, why I'm taking this stars example, do I really use my in real time? Not really. This is just to improve your logic, how we can really put one star, then give blank, then put two stars and give two blanks, then put three stars and give one blank, and then print four. So now I have at the bottom, if you look at, I have four stars. So that means I need to take range of four, right? Now we understood how to use the range already. So let me say rows, as directly I'm using that words, range of 1 comma 5. So that means what 5 stands for? 5 stands for 4, right? 1 stands for 1 only. 1, 2, 3, 4. That means that is what I have 4 stars here. If you have 5, then you take 1 comma 6. If you have 10 stars, you take 1 comma 10. That's it. As simple as that. Now for X, because I'm taking a variable I want to store somewhere, so I am saying rows, enter. Sorry, you need to use a colon, right? So we have to use this colon mandatory. Here is the trick. I want to use for what do you want to print? I want to print star. So let me give something which is very closely understandable. So I'm using S in range of whatever the range you have created as 1 to 5. That is 1 comma. You have taken X, so X plus 1. So that means while you're printing, print that next time when you're printing, print 2. That is what I'm increasing. But how long you'll increase these numbers? You'll increase up to 4 stars only. That is what your limitation. If you increase this 5 to 10, it will become something else. Okay. After printing this, again enter, or in the colon enter, because this is a for loop, right? So we need to use colon enter, then use a print option. Now the thing is, what you want to print? You want to print brackets, you want to print stars, you want to print semicolons. What style you want to print? I just want to use print, that is star. Okay, then enter. Let's say print here one blank. By the way, why I'm printing blank here? Because after every line, okay, after every line, in a first line, I have printed one. The rest of the 4 digits I want to be blank. Next time it is printing 2 stars. The next few 2 stars I want to be blank. In the same way, when I'm printing 3, the last one should be blank. When I'm printing 4, no need of any blank, because already your limit you reached. Okay, that's how we are printing a blank statement there. And let me print this, and you'll find some problem. Oh, it's not printing the way I wanted. It is printing in a different fashion. Why? The thing is, print is having one more command which I have not spoken about it, but you can say within the print, when you're printing star, can you leave some blank? So let me see how end equal to, there is an end. After printing end, after printing the star, at the end part, try to leave it blank. That is what I'm telling. Simply, I'm telling leave it blank. When I try to print it, you'll see that it is printing the way I want it. So you're not happy with the 5 numbers, so go for a 10 digits. So what happens? Nothing will happen. It will just increase the size of your stars. So again, I'm repeating, printing stars is not my objective. Here, I want to understand the logic, because I'm printing for the first time 1, second time I'm printing 2, printing 3, because already I learned in the very first exam how to print the 1 to 10 numbers. The same logic I'm using here, but this time I'm printing instead of 1 to 3, I'm printing stars. At the same time, the logic I'm using is when you are at the first stage, print a star and print all the rest of the things blank, blank. Second time, when you're incrementing by 1, print to 2 and the rest of the things blank. Likewise, once you reach 10, I'm not printing any more blanks. The reason is your limit is 10. If it is 100, obviously what happens is after the 100th stage, it will stop. Let's see. Oh, it's a very big one. It went up to 100 and it is stopped. Let me put it very simple. 5. Okay, so that we can clearly look at it. Okay, 5. 5 means nothing but 4, right? So 5 means -1. So that's how it's printed. Your for loop by using a range function. Range function, we have seen a few examples here. Intentionally, I've taken this example because that's how we are going to use it. Now, The next concept in the within the loops is when you're running any loops, we want something like in the conditional structure what we have, the else part, we want to use it. So let's try to see how the loops can be used with the else block statement. Okay, in Python what happens is in the loops can be also have an else block, because when you want to because these else blocks will be executed irrespective of the loop, whether if the loop got executed or not. So what the example we can take here is, let's take an example. So that loops with else part. What is else part? We already learned in uh, conditions, if conditions, right? So in the if conditions, I'm using else part. Else plays very important role. If none of the condition is not satisfied, please put, you passed A grade, B grade, C grade, D grade. I have not gone through any of the grade. So what is my grade? Else part. That means you have failed. That is your else part. So even in the loops, we can use the else part. Let's see how we are going to use that. Okay. So in this example, we'll see how to use loops with a uh, else part. I repeat, in Python, loops can also have else block. Okay, loops also can have else block. To demonstrate this example, let's take simply value. Okay, value equal to anything. Let's say range of 5. Okay, range of 5, nothing but 0 to 5, nothing but 0 to 4, right? That's what the concept of range. We have seen examples, guys. Remember that examples, then only you'll understand the concept. For I've taken some example x, y, z, anything. For x in values, and the values is nothing but the range, colon. Then what I want to do is I want to print uh, available. Okay, available lie. Okay, otherwise not available. Oh, I cannot print here. I need to put else part, right? So I have to go back the way we are doing for the uh, if conditions. I need to print not available. So what is the condition here? What is the condition here? We are trying to use the else part. We are trying to use the else part, but this loop, this else block, especially because we know how the for loop already works, but these else block will execute it irrespective of the loop is, even if the loop got executed or not, even if the loop is executed or not, still it will just try to print everything. So if I run this, I'm pretty sure it is going to print, because you have given range as 5, so it will print 5 times available, and the last say it will not available. So let's try to run this and see the output. It's not running. Okay, so the values is not defined. What is not values? Oh, I've given s here, there I've given value, so my mistake. That's variable name is not same. So it's printing. That's a concept here. So what it says, these else block, okay, the else block is least bother. Even if the loop got executed or not, it will print everything. So that is what your else part is doing. It plays a very important role. We'll see some more example, but try to understand the skeleton at this moment. If you understand the skeleton, it will be much easier when you're going for a next uh, statements. Now, by using this for loop, anyway, we have started using the for loop, and within that for loop, we have used one more for loop to see how it works. But now I want to use this if condition because I also know how to use the if conditions. If I can combine both, let's see what exactly the magic can happen. Okay. So for this, I want to do an example called, let's say values search in the list. Okay. I want to search a value if it is existing or not, or if it is same or not. Okay, let's try to use the concept. If we want to complete this concept, the program what I'm talking about, the value search or element search in the list, we need to know few things. One is you need to know how to write the list. You need to know how to write the input function. You need to know how to use the for loop. You need to know how to use the if condition. So that means the 4 combination program, this is where we can get familiarized with the data type at the same time, condition structure for loop at the same time using the print and the input function. So let's do as a group as just like that in an example. Okay. I used 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4, some odd numbers, any numbers, serial numbers, doesn't matter. Then I'm saying search. Whatever the variable names I'm taking, you can take anything, not no problem. Input, I'm saying enter. Whenever you are taking any information through the input, please be conscious what information you're taking. Enter the value uh, value in search. Let's say in search makes sense. Yeah. in search. Okay, so group is this a number 1 2 3 4, and you want to search if that number is existing or not. So how we are going to use, I need to use a for loop, right? So first I want to check whatever the number is entering. Let's say he has entered a number called 4. The user has entered because you're asking a number, right? So he's entered 4. The for loop will check first, is it matching? No. Is it matching? No. Is it matching? No. Yes, it is matching. When it is matching, that means the condition is met. Then I want to give the output. Yes, it is available. It is not available. It's not the part of the group. You want to give some message. If it is available, yes, available. It's not available, not available. So for loop does a great job here, going through each and every number what is there in the list. But when the condition meets, whose job it is? It is if condition job. So let's try to use the combination now very quickly to see how it works. So the number could be anything. I've just taken a hypothetical number as 4, or you can increase the list to make it more complicated, 6, 7, 8. Okay, some numbers just randomly. Then what I want to do is I want to use a for x in group, whatever the numbers are there in the group, try to put one number into the x. Okay, the way you printed 1 2 3. Whenever I'm writing a for loop, always go back to the first example, how it has printed beautifully 1 to 10 numbers. That same concept I keep using. Okay, then the for loop is job is done. I want to print. Okay, I want to print. Uh, let's say element found in the list. Okay, I'm saying the element found in the list. Okay, then I want to use else part to say element is not found. Okay, the element not found, let's say in uppercase, not found, to be very precise, not found. But this program not going to work. The reason is it is checking each number, what is there in the group. It is checking each number 1 2 3, but where you're putting the if condition, you need to put the if condition so that you can really say yes, this number is matching what the user has given. It is matching and the element found in the list. If not, it's not matching. So let me go back. Once it is checking, once it is taking each number, okay, if from the group it has taken 1 and it's checking with the search, is it the same what the user has given? No. Is again asking the group, what is the second number? 2. Is it 2 what the user has entered? Okay, it's not matching. So whose job it is? Whose job it is? It's not for loop job. For loop is already doing its job by checking each number, but condition met or not, only if condition will tell you. That means if not uppercase. So again, I need to cross check. Okay, if search, whatever the search, SEARCH search. If search is equals to, not equals to, double equals to, guys. What you have that, what we have element you are storing in a value called, is it correct? X, yeah, colon. Then what you want to print? You want to print the print statement, print, what happened? Okay, is, yeah, exactly. The blocks should be proper, otherwise it will not work. Okay. Now, the if condition is checking whether the number what you have given is correct or not. Let me see what exactly happens at this moment when I run. Still, I think the program will not give the accurate results. Let me see. It's asking you, can you enter a value to search in the list? Okay, I said 10. Okay, what it is telling me, the element not found in the group. Excellent. Now, when I run this, again, I want to give some number which is existing. I said 3. It's saying element not found. What's happening here? It's for every question, it is giving the wrong answer, saying that it's not found. So that means it's not really working. The for loop is doing its job, but the search is not checking whether it's working or not. So can somebody put quickly in the chat box, what's the error here? What's happening? What is the error? Can somebody put it in the, can somebody put it in the chat box? What is the problem with this program? Why it is not giving the result what I'm expecting? When I even have given 3, it is saying element not found. The problem here is somebody has put in the chat, print is already there. Print element found in the list, element not found. Excellent. Excellent. Satvik, what you have given the answer is correct. The information what the user is entering is considered to be a string. So I need to convert always, otherwise it will never work. Okay, that's what you have seen examples. I said 10, 40. Okay, let's take 40. 40 is not found. Very good. Can you please tell me if 7 is existing in the group? I should get S existing. Okay, found in the list. Okay, we got the information as found in the list, right? So what is happening here is I am able to see 2 outputs, which is wrong. Okay, if it is found, I should get found. If it is not found, I should get the not found. So here is the concept, very important concept, guys. When your job is done, why you are keep running that statements and printing for me? When the job is really matching, I mean, what the number I've given, when the job is done, you would have printed this message. Why you're printing this also? That means the loop is not able to come out, even the condition met. It is also printing the else part. What is the job of else part? Irrespective whether the loop is executed or not, it will still print the else block. That is wrong. So what I can do here, very important concept, I need to use something called a keyword called break. What is break? If you really find the number in the list, print saying that element found in the list and break, stop there itself. Don't go for the else block. If it is not found, ignore my break and go for the else part and print it. Let's see. Now I'm saying 10. Now, when I say 10, it is X is searching in the group. Is this 10 existing? Okay, is 10 is equal to X? Now it is not going for these statements, is directly going for the else part and we print element not found. Let's see this example. Now let me print at 10. Element not found in the list. Very good. Now let me run the actual number. Let me give you some 2. 2 is trying to check in the loop and we will say enter. It is just printing what I wanted. Element found in the list. So who is doing the magic? Let me just put it in the comments and rerun the program, and what the problem I'm facing you need to understand. I'm saying 10, it is saying politely, boss, this element is not found. But what happens when I say even the valid number? Let me run this again. I said 1. When I run this, it is saying element found in the list. At the same time, element not found in the list also, which is wrong, right? That means else block always print irrespective whether your for loop has done its job or not. So that's why we use a break statement. That means once the job is completed, please stop proceeding further and don't print me anything additional information or like element not found. When it is already found, why you're printing not found? So let me print 10, which is really not found. It is not found. When I say some number which is known to me, that is 6 number. When I say run, it is saying me found in the list. Very good example to make you understand how to use a break statement. Break statement, especially in Python, will break when encountered any termination of the loop. Okay, and brings the execution out of the loop. It is trying to just bring that execution. It is printed this and also it's trying to print this. So I want to break it. So this is a keyword which I'm using here. It's a statement actually, it's not a keyword. It's a statement which will break there itself. Okay, there is a one more concept called continue also. Let's see that continue quickly before we close the session for today. Let me take the same example maybe. 153 and this is 154. Value search into this, I said group is 1 2 3 4 5 6, or let's take odd numbers here. Okay, uh, some random numbers, 20 and then 500, then 700, then 50, then 80 or 60 something. Okay, I've taken some group here. Then what I'm doing is I'm not asking anything from the user. I'm simply using a for loop for x in that group. If it is there, it's fine. If item, okay, that item, what is there in this, if group, okay, if the group, if the item, if the item, is it item? Yes, no, it's not item in the previous example. I mean, it's x, oh, it's x. If x is greater than, let's put a hard coded number here to understand this better example, is greater than 500 or not. Okay, any values which are there in the list of groups, is it greater than 5 or not? Okay, if it is, let me not use anything. I'll not use that option, what I'm saying now. I'll simply say print else part is also not required because this is straight away. This is straight away printing elements not found or item. Oh, I'm using item here. So it's an X value. So let's say this is my simple printing of way. Okay, I'm using a comma here. I'm saying X. What happens here is, if you compare with the previous example, I'm trying to check if whichever the number is greater than 500, just try to print it out. Okay, printing the items which are below 500. Okay, below 500, but I've taken greater than. Let's see what happens when I'm trying to print here. Okay, X greater than or equal to 500. What is the missing here is invalid syntax. Okay, at 500 invalid syntax. What is the problem here? I used missed colon symbol here. Okay, I keep doing it. Expected an indent block where I'm doing that mistake. So let me just enter. My if condition should be here. When I say enter, My print statement should be here, not here, because I don't want to print here. Rather, I want to print at the if condition statement only. Let me print here first. Invalid syntax. Why? For x in group, this is a group, and if this x is greater than or equals to 500. Okay, so the x is, oh yeah, so we have not used the comma operator because we need to separate that text information with the value which you are supposed to print. So it's saying 500 and 700. Why? Because they are the greater than or equal to. So if you want to print something which is less than or equal to of this 500, so obviously you are going to put less than operator. So equal to, I used the equal to operator, so that's why it is including that 500 also. What if you don't want to print only those numbers which are less than 500? So though the group, the numbers which I have mentioned here, all completely jumbled here and there, but still it's working, right? So what if it is still greater than symbol? Okay, if it is still greater than symbol or equal to 500, but I want to use a keyword which I was saying continue. Okay, continue, again it's a statement. What happens here, let me use this print statement here. When I run this, it will print the same way. So it is trying to continue, it's not breaking anywhere. Okay, so we got 10, we got 20, we got 50, we got 60. So how this continue statement is working in Python is, the continue statement when encounters will skip the current iteration, whatever the iteration it is repeating, it will stop there, and the loop will next proceed for the next iteration. So even if you don't use this, for instance, you're telling forcefully just continue it, even if you're not using it. So just look at this output. It is what happened again, expected indent of block. Okay, let me remove this indent of block. See how important role it is playing. So let me use enter, and here where I'm getting this print option, then enter. Oh, it's very important. Even if you just use the continue option, continue, yeah, it's in coming in green color. Okay, my kernel stopped, so let me just quickly restart it. Okay, hope you understood how to use a continue statement here. That is a continue statement when encounters this uh, the condition, it will skip the current iteration, that is nothing with the current loop. It will try to, without executing the statement. That's a line of statement which you need to, without executing the statement, which are followed by after the continue statement. Once you use a continue statement, after following that, like, it will keep printing that number. So what the condition, you have given your own condition here. It's not running still. Kernel, let me restart for now. Restart. So in anytime, if I feel my kernel is stopped or something, I'll always use in temple 10 and 10 and see if it is working or not. It's not working. So my kernel is ready now. So let me run. What happened? Okay, the print option which you are expecting should be exactly at if a block. Okay, that is going for the that condition. So when you say enter, it is printing 10, 20, 50, 60. Now the output has reversed. See, it is trying to print only those numbers which are below your 500. So this is how we can use a continue statement. We can, and in the previous example, we have seen how to use the break statement, which are plays a very important role. And we'll be seeing with the other examples so that we can really compare like whether it's really playing any important role or not. So we doesn't require this b dd dd. Okay, so this is how you can see how the continue works, how the break statement works. Statement, it's not a function or something like a break. You can see it coming in a green color, right? So it's a keyword. Break, continue. We have seen how to use a combination of for loop and if condition. Okay, we have seen how to use the else part for the for loop. The good part of else part is it's if the condition is not met, it's supposed to print in a else part, but else part block problem is the behavior is, rather, let me put that way, behavior is irrespective of the loop, whether it is executed or not, it will still print the else part. That's what we are trying to solve, that issue with a break statement. So when the condition is met, you please break it. And we have seen how to work with the ranges. It's already covered topic, but I've taken it because I need to see how to use in for loops. So You need to understand, if I say range 5, what does it mean? It starts with 0 and ends with 5. So we have seen quite a few examples how to use the for loops today. And in the next week, we'll try to cover the challenges regarding all the combinations what you learn till week 10. Week 10, what are the topics we have covered? We'll try to see all these combination examples so that you'll never forget any topic. Okay, so here we have covered 139, and this is 140, 141, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6, and this is 7. Let me put the order before I send it out to you. 7, 8, 9, 0, 1. All right, so overall, like we have finished almost like 154 examples so far. All right, let me restart and clear all the outputs before I just convert it to a HTML file for you, and I'll push it. All right, that's all, guys, for this week, and we'll see more topics in the next week's session. Mostly we are going to cover the functions, and we already covered the functions in terms of a string. We have covered in terms of a list, a tuple, these data types. Okay, data structures we have covered. But however, there would be some situation where you want to create your own user defined functions. Okay, so we'll see from basic to advanced how to work with the functions in the next week. We'll cover the complete next week session with the functions, and other week we'll try to do some challenges in the sense like we try to solve some problems by using all the combinations. All right, that's all for today, and see you in the next week. Have a great day.